You moved to the UK full of hope. You did everything you were supposed to do. You got the job. You got the flat. You got through the immigration system. You survived. And yet, 7 years later, you're still looking through your bank account and wondering, where did it all go? Today, I'm opening a letter from someone who feels exactly that way. And as always, we're going to get to the root of it spiritually, practically, and honestly. This is Hello Misola, and you're welcome to another episode. Dear Misola, it's been 7 years since I moved here, and I'm still broke. How do I get out of this? Okay. So firstly, I need to say something that might feel uncomfortable. 7 years is not a problem. I know that might not be what you expected to hear, but hear me out. There are people in Nigeria who have probably never set foot in the UK, or maybe they have, but they just don't live here with legitimate wealth. It might be generational, it might be first generation wealth, but they have legitimate wealth. So they're not politicians, they're not scammers, they're not anything. So the point I'm making here is it's not the location. It's not that you've lived here for 7 years. Has nothing to do with that. And there are people who have lived here in the UK for 30 years and are still stuck in the rat race. Still living paycheck to paycheck and still anxious every time it's the end of the month because those direct debits need to come out. The UK did not do this to you. The passport did not do this to you. The years that you spent here did not do this to you as well. So the question is not, why is the UK not working for you? The question is, what is going on in the inside of me that is keeping me stuck? Because if more years in the UK were the answer, everyone who's been here longer than a certain benchmark or whatever, or than you, would be richer. But that's not the case. The geography didn't break you, and a different postcode would not fix it either. The answer is somewhere else, and that's actually good news, because that somewhere else is somewhere that you have access to right now. Before we get into the practical, let's dig in deep and look at some sort of kingdom perspective. Look at it from the angle of, the kingdom. As always, I would always give you a kingdom perspective because I believe that there is culture and there is kingdom. So you as an immigrant, as a Christian immigrant, should be able to understand and plug into whatever God is trying to say in whatever situation that you find yourself at that point in time. So let's get this straight. You were never meant to build alone. You were never meant to do this alone. That is not how we were designed as human beings. There is that need for community. There is also that need to lean on God because you cannot, honestly, you cannot do this alone. That exhaustion that you feel, the grinding, the hustling, the trying and feeling like you're going nowhere. That is what happens when you carry something God never designed for you to carry alone. So there's a song that says, lean on me. When you're not strong, I'll be your strength. This is content, man. I can't even believe I'm this person singing on camera. But yeah, that song, I don't know if you know it, but yeah, just Google it. And I believe God says this to his children every single day. So my question is, are you not tired of doing this alone? Are you not tired of saying, okay, it's got to be this job. I'll move and apply to this job. Maybe it's a business. I'll apply for this business. Maybe I need to start saving, so I'll downsize. I'll look for a room in a flat. But you realize that, okay, it works, but you're still looking for more. You're still stuck. You're still living that rat race. You're still living from paycheck to paycheck. Are you not tired of doing this alone? That's my question. Let me read this scripture, and it says, and you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers, as it is this day. So read that again. It is he who gives you power. It is he who gives you power, not your qualifications, not your work ethic, and not how long you've been here. So the power to get wealth comes from God, which means that if you're not working hand in hand with God and getting instructions and direction from him, you're working basically with one hand tied to your back. And it's just going to be like one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back. But yes, now we know this, there is also an order to this. And most of us, myself included, at different phases, skip this order. And if you look at this passage in the screen where Matthew 6:33, we skip this order and we just go straight to the seek first. Because yeah, it's normal. I mean, I just said it that, yeah, you need to get wealth and that's what you've been doing. So you're like, okay, how can I make more money? How can I get a better life for myself? How can I not be stuck? How can I do this? How can I do that? We kind of forget that to move 5 steps ahead, we probably need to slow down and stop and listen and hear what God is saying to us per time. So before we talk about budgets and career moves and side incomes, I need you to hear this. God is not withholding from you, but there is an order. And when we honor that order, things begin to shift. Okay, so now let us get into the practical steps. I have realized, and this is my personal opinion, and I don't know if it's in the Bible, I probably haven't found it yet, but you are doing it wrong if what you're trying to do is get wealth. If you're trying to chase wealth, there is something you need to tie your wealth creation to something bigger than you. To, what value are you giving? Who are you trying to help? And you are seeking God first. So basically, I'm saying this because you've moved past the instruction phase, or you've moved past that phase where you have a solid relationship with your God. It is Him that you're seeking above everything else. Because if your father is the person who has the inheritance, who has the power to give you wealth, who has the power to make you feel unstuck, to get you from stuck to living in purpose, why don't you develop a relationship with that person, with that, with your God, with your Father? And once you do that, that's when you start getting instructions, and then you realize that, it's deeper. Getting wealth is not just because I want to drive the big cars, live in the nice house, be able to travel. I'll give you an example. I'm probably going off my talk, and I didn't mean to take you to church, but we had to go to church. I had a coaching business, or a strategy business, an online business for 5 years. And in that 5 years, the goal was I needed to make as much money as possible, because I want to be able to retire my mom when they're retired. I want to be able to, fly first class, take my family on holiday, live in big houses and all of that. At some point in my life, there was a shift where I moved from knowing God as that God who you just make prayer points to, give your prayer points, He answers your prayers, and then He will punish you if you sin, to knowing Him as a Father and developing that loving relationship. And so it doesn't mean that desire to make money, to be wealthy, at some point I went through a phase where I thought, okay, I shouldn't desire that anymore, but I now realize that it was still there. But it's changed. It's no longer just because I want to buy the houses or do all of those things. When you're in the center of purpose, those things are just a necessary must-have that must happen. It must come. So the idea is, yes, you desire wealth, but we're going to have to shift to purpose. So let's move on to the practical, because I have probably spoken a bit much, but if you want me to delve this or explain this further, then let me know in the comment section, and I can probably create like a YouTube story or a different separate video, and we'll talk more about this in depth. So step 1, do the identity work first. Money will not solve being broke. I know that sounds backwards, but hear me out. If your relationship with money is broken, if you spend when you're stressed, if you avoid your bank statement, if you feel like money always runs out, more money will just give you more to lose. The work here is internal, is asking yourself, what do I believe about money? But beyond all these money questions that you're asking yourself, why am I here? What am I doing here? Yes, I've lived in the UK. Why do I feel stuck? Is it because I hate my job? Is it because I cannot find a job? Is it because I dread going to work every morning? Or is it because I am not doing the thing that lights me up? Or is it because somebody said this? Or is it because maybe you're in a relationship that is pulling you down? Or is it because you feel like you're not growing? I want you to do that identity work first. And that identity work as a Christian, it comes from you going back to understanding who you are in God. So you need to ask yourselves a lot of questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? That is the identity work that I want you to do. So it's not just about money. Yes, there are some money questions you have to ask, but you have to ask the questions, sit in that pain, because there is that tendency for you to avoid sitting down to reflect on this, but there is purpose in pain. So sit in it. Are there mistakes that I have made? Why do I feel stuck? Do I worry about interviews? Do I not want to go to apply for jobs? Or am I worried about taking that step and applying for that, not applying and starting that business, registering that company? What is the reason why you're feeling stuck? You know the answer. Honestly, if you sit down and reflect deeply, you would realize that you know the answer. And that's where step 2 comes in, because you need to get clarity on your purpose and start moving. Who am I? Why am I here? Because everybody that is alive at this point was born for a time as this. There is a purpose for you being here at this time, and you can achieve that. It is never too late. So purpose is the engine behind lasting wealth. But here is what I want you to know. Clarity doesn't come before action. Often it comes through action. So you've got to make that move. You don't need to have everything figured out to take a step. Just start moving. Do something. Try something. Because it's in the doing that you find out what you're actually built for. Don't wait until you have full clarity to begin. Begin and clarity will come. Now, step 3, steward what you already have. This one stings a bit, but it's really important. How are you managing what you already have? So if you can't steward a little, more won't help. This is a biblical principle. It's also a logical principle. Start a simple budget. Know your numbers. Know what comes in. Know what goes out. Know what's left at the end of the month. Most people who feel broke have not sat with their numbers in months. And the anxiety of not knowing makes everything feel worse. So you have to know your numbers. Sit with your finances. Face them. Then build a plan. Step 4, find a job or create an additional income or create income. Momentum really matters here. So if you're not currently working or you're underemployed, take the next step. And if you're saying, I'm underemployed, I want to break into a high income paid, high earning job. Yeah, yesterday we uploaded a video. Go and watch it on there. That would help you. Not the perfect step, not the dream job. Just take the next step. Momentum is a spiritual and practical force. So when you're moving, God can direct your path. But when you're standing still out of fear or overwhelm, it is much harder. Clarity comes by doing. Take the job, start the side income, apply for the role. Whatever it is in your situation, just do it. Do something that moves you forward. That's why you're stuck, because you're not moving forward. So what is that next step for you? And trust that God will course correct you as you go. Honestly, that's something I believe. If you feel like, oh, I don't want to do it because I'm going to take the wrong step, just do it. He would direct you. If he has to make it zigzag rather than straight, just so that he would direct you, he would do that. You just take that step and move forward. Step 5, lean on God genuinely. I want you to make a decision today to understand that you're going to stop doing this alone. You're not the only person that wants to see you succeed. As a Christian, do you know what will happen if you succeed? You're right in the center of purpose. You're not stuck. A lot of people will be helped by you because we are a giving people, right? So you would give a lot. But other than that, people will see you and be like, your life is good. How are you living this life? I want to live a life I want. So you're emulating that life for people. So you're not the only one that wants you to move from being stuck to living in the center of your purpose and living in wealth. You were designed to work with him, and that changes everything, honestly. So before I let you go, I want you to hear this. You're not here by accident. 7 years in the UK is not a waste. It is not failure. What have you learned? It is part of the story that God is still writing in your life or about your life. There is a reason he placed you here on this island at this time. And that reason is bigger than a job, bigger than any big house, bigger than your bank account. You're here on an assignment. And if today you feel like giving up, don't. Come back here. Send me a message. Let's get clarity on your next steps together. Because the God who brought you here is not done with you. He's not finished with you. He's just getting started. You have access to the one who gives power to get wealth. That's not a small thing. Go and seek him. Go and find that peace under his banner. Go and hide under the shadow of his wings. So if this spoke to you, I would love to read your letter next. Click the link in the description. Send me your letter. Let's figure this out together so that you can get clear and then you can start moving. Because you were not born to be stuck. You're not born to be a second-class citizen. You are the child of God. You're here for a reason. You're on assignment, and I'd love to see you shine. So click the link in the description and send me your letter, and let's create solutions together. And if this episode helped you, I'd love for you to subscribe, also like this video and share it with someone who you feel like, oh, this person is getting stuck and somebody needs to hear this. But other than that, I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.